it a big idea?
Many founders are obsessed about raising as much money as possible all at once, but with a large amount of money comes with several potential problems. CEO Y Combinator Michael Siebel joins us on the show to discuss startup financing in Africa.
Do you really think that we can build sustainable models around these startups?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at Nigeria, when I look at the cities that I've been in, there are people who are extremely energetic, extremely talented, have a lot of tech ability, and there are a lot of problems to solve. So I think that there are many, many billion-dollar businesses that can be created by tech entrepreneurs here.
You're very confident about that.
I'm investing in them, so I'm very confident.
Okay, so let's talk about the investment.
Yes.
A lot of startups usually say that finance or funding is always a problem. Do you really think it is?
So unfortunately, the investing world kind of puts out there this idea that founders should come to them for money very early. And I think oftentimes that's not the right message for young founders, especially in tech companies. If they were better focused on recruiting a good team of co-founders with tech talent, building the initial product, launching it and getting users, and then going and get funding, I think a lot of founders would have a lot easier time raising money. There are investors here, I've met them, they're willing to write checks, but certainly they want to see teams that are actually doing as opposed to pitching.
Okay, so tell me your investment model. If you are to invest in the startup, what are the things you look out for?
So to give you a sense, YC invests in about 200 to 250 startups every year. And what most people don't realize is that we're investing in startups all over the world. 50% of the class, we call it the class, but 50% of the founders we fund are actually not born in the United States. And 30% are actually foreign companies that come to America for YC. And so that's kind of the first misconception. We don't care what market you're coming from. We don't care what market you're serving. We don't care where you come from. So what we do care about, we care about having strong teams. So first and foremost, we want teams with technical talent. I'm going to say that over and over again because you're building a tech company, you need tech on the founding team.
Okay, just one tech or everyone?
No, it can be one. I mean, we prefer, as many as possible. But most of the companies that we fund, we want their differentiator, the thing that they do better than anyone else, to be software. The second thing we want to see is founders willing to split equity equally or close to equally. When we look at a team...
Why is that?
Yeah. So when we look at a team, what we say to ourselves is, how motivated is this team going to be to work on this for 10 years? Because in our experience, it takes 10 years to build a billion-dollar company. Well, if some of those team members are not well compensated with stock, they might decide to leave. And then the company we invested in, really the team we invested in, is no longer there. In that case, our investment is probably failure. So we think it's extremely important to motivate the team with equity. That founding team is basically the core of a company.
And how many do you read a year?
A lot. Personally, I'll read about 1,000 a year. Yeah, about 1,200 companies apply to YC every year, which seems like a lot, but I don't want that to be intimidating. What I will tell you is that a large number of the applications that we get are not, they're not very well thought out. And so, we can filter those out pretty quickly. And so what I would say is for the companies that are very serious and that are actually executing, building something, about 1 in 6 will get invited for interviews. And when you get invited for an interview at YC, we pay for your flight and your hotel to come out to Silicon Valley. So a lot of the people who apply end up getting interviewed.
Aspiring startups are zealous about what they do and put fantastic amount of effort in product development, but without any thought to the business development, such as research, marketing, branding, and business models.
Okay, so how many startups have you funded from Nigeria?
From Nigeria, so far, we've funded 4 startups. And from Africa, I think that number is closer to 6 or 8. And one of the things that we were looking at and curious about early on when we started funding Nigerian startups would be how they're able to communicate the market size and whether US investors and international investors who come to our demo day would feel like this is a market that they want to invest in. And we've been very, very, very happy that both have been true, that the founders have been amazing and be able to communicate huge markets here in Africa, which we believe, and that investors have also believed that and they're willing to put money. And for Nigerian startups, it's even better because these investors are investing US dollars that go very, very far here.
Okay, so personally, why did you decide to make this trip to Nigeria?
So, a lot of times people say that YC says it's open. They says it's an open application. We say that anyone can apply, but I've never met anyone from YC. YC's never come to my country. I don't know really that YC truly exists, and I don't think I can get in. So in addition to, when we kind of thought about this, we were like, if we want to make the point, not only do we have to talk about it, we have to fund Nigerian startups, and we have to come. And so now no one has any excuse not to apply.
If a startup applies and they qualify, what's the minimum investment they get?
So everyone gets the same deal who applies to YC. We invest $120,000 for 7%, and that's standard across everyone.
7%?
Yes.
No question asked.
That's it.
What if he fails?
It's fine, no problem. Actually, to be completely honest, right, most startups will fail. We are fully comfortable with that. What we tell founders is they're running their company, we're not running their company. We don't have the ability to fire them. We don't have the ability to yell at them. We don't have the ability to do anything. We want to help them when they ask for help. We want to support them. We want to introduce them to people that can be helpful, but they have to run their company. Some are going to succeed, some are going to fail, but as long as our founders try hard, we love to fund them again and again.
Nigeria is a country with a lot of old money, so to speak.
Yes.
What would you say to them to give them the courage to invest in tech companies, startups?
I think the difference between traditional industries and startups is the amount of capital they need to succeed. I talk to a lot of investors here who have the ability to write a $25,000 check, a $5,000 check, a $10,000 check, even a $50,000 check. But I don't think they understand that with software, that amount of money can go very, very, very far, as opposed to a normal, traditional industry where $50,000 doesn't build a farm, it doesn't build a factory, it doesn't build an oil well. So what I would say to them is that, their dollar goes so much further in tech, they should be willing to take some extra chances.
And how do they deal with the risk?
One of the fun things about the Valley is that the group of angel investors that really support the Valley, they think of investing two ways. They think of it to make money, but they also think of it a way of giving back, of doing charity, doing good work. And when I make an angel investment, in my mind, I always think the money's gone. And this ecosystem supported me. It did very well by me. I've been very successful, and this is me giving back. But unlike giving to charity, sometimes, every once in a while, you make money. And what's cool is in those cases, not only do you make money, but you employ people, you give people jobs, you give people a livelihood, you help support the economy, and all of those things are great.
So let me understand, beside the YC investment,
Yes.
you also make your own personal investments?
Yes, so I'm allowed to make personal investments. Typically, I invest in a small number of YC companies and only after the program. But yes, actually YC is perfectly comfortable with all the partners investing. The way that we think about it is, if you're investing money, you care even more. And so we never want to prevent someone from caring even more.
Okay, Michael, just to let you go, I want you to leave some tips with some startups that are watching this show right now. What would you say to them to keep them going?
The one thing I would say is that doing a startup is very hard. And if you're encountering problems, understand that you're in a community of other founders who've been there and that you're not alone. Even if your friends don't understand what you're doing, even if your family doesn't understand what you're doing, there's a community of founders all around the world, and I've met many of them, and they all have your back. I think the second thing is, if you encounter a problem, the first thing you should do is think, how can I use software to solve it? How can I use software to solve it? It's always the cheapest and best way. And I think the last thing I would say is apply to YC. We're here. We want to see great teams. We want to see people solving big problems, and we're here to help.
So when next time coming to Nigeria again?
I hope I come back very soon.
Thank you for being on TechSense today. And all the
Cheers.
best.
Thank you so much.
That's all we have for you on today's show. Let's continue the conversation online, so do follow us on social media. Remember, you can watch these and other editions of the show on the channel's TV, YouTube account, or via my blog, techsmart.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.